Everyone knows Patrick Beverley for being an aggressive pest when he's out on the court, but that's what always helps him get the best of his opponents. However, that also means he's made more enemies than friends along the way. So in this video, we're going to talk about his rivalry with fellow point guard Chris Paul and give you a rundown of their history, plus some more. Let's get right into it. Starting off, Pat Bev lets everyone know that his rivalry with CP's alive and well. Toward the end of December 2022, Beverley appeared on Kevin Hart's Cold as Balls podcast, and the two talked about many things, including Pat's relationship with Chris. Beverley quickly let Kevin know there's no relationship between both men, and that anytime he sees CP, it's smoke. The point guard didn't stop there, as he emphasized that until he or Paul retire, or until his own bones pop out of his knees, he's going to hound Chris every time he matches up against him. But on all that, it's clear as day that Patrick really dislikes Paul, and we're all for it because stuff like this just makes matchups in the NBA even more entertaining. Hopefully, once the two face off again on March 22nd, we're treated to some heated moments that'll spice things up. Next up, when and how did the beef start? When Pat Bev appeared on JJ Redick's podcast, The Old Man and the Three, he explained how the beef started from his point of view. He started by saying that most people don't know that their rivalry goes way back, and that while many don't understand the backstory, he and Chris definitely do. Then Bev told Redick and Tommy Alter that it all started when both players were in college and got invited to a LeBron James camp. According to Bev, both players matched up against each other, and he claimed that he absolutely destroyed CP. He went on to say that once he saw Paul when he joined the league after playing overseas, that energy rolled over to the NBA. And since Paul joined the NBA before Pat, he'd already established himself as one of the best point guards of all time by that point, while Bev was just a newcomer in the league. Naturally, he felt annoyed seeing someone he demolished have a better standing than him. Following that, he added that Chris always does slick and finesses the system because of his dirty little tricks. At the same time, Bev made sure to give Paul his props and even praised him a bit. Moving on, let's look at their incident from 2021. One of their most famous encounters came in the 2021 Western Conference Finals, when CP3 and the Suns stopped Bev and the Clippers from making the finals. When speaking about the incident with Kevin Hart, Beverley said he wanted nothing more than stopping Paul from reaching the NBA Finals. But that didn't happen because Chris went beast mode and dropped 41 points in a series-clinching Game 6. With just 6 minutes remaining, Paul hit a three, which made the finals out of reach, and Pat let his emotions get the better of him. Following a timeout, both point guards crossed paths as they were heading to the bench, and during that moment, Paul said something to Beverley, which rubbed him the wrong way. Pat Bev shoved Paul with all his might when his back was turned, resulting in a big scuffle that ended with Pat getting ejected. Coming up, let's talk about Bev's comments about Paul during the 2022 playoffs. Even though Bev claimed that the beef wasn't too personal when he appeared on Redick's podcast in March 2022, he didn't waste any time before trash-talking Chris following his disappointing performance against the Mavs in the Western Conference semis. When Patrick appeared on ESPN shows Get Up and First Take, all he did was rip CP and the Suns apart. On Get Up, he said that Monty Williams made the wrong choice by benching DeAndre Ayton, and argued in favor of the point guard being benched instead. Moreover, he claimed that Paul literally can't guard anyone in the NBA, and even said that everybody in the NBA knows that. He compared Paul to a con on defense, and then called for people to give him the Ben Simmons slander. Many did not take well to his comments, as guys like Matt Barnes and Damian Lillard called him out for his comments on Twitter, while fans said that he shouldn't talk so much as he didn't even make it out of the first round last year. Then on First Take, he added that not a single person in the league's afraid of the Suns, making it clear that he doesn't have much respect for them. Following that, what went down during their matchup on the 19th of December? As usual, Pat tried to get under his opponent's skin. When LA was down by 26 early in the third, Beverley scored and drew a foul on Chris, and obviously, he had to taunt his rival. So he hit CP with the too small celebration, even though he and his team were getting demolished by Paul. But CP3 was clearly unbothered, because why wouldn't he be? Then with around 10.5 minutes remaining in the third, Paul forced Pat to turn the ball over, so he patted Chris on his butt. Paul wasn't having it and slapped Bev's hand away. When reporters asked Paul about Pat's antics, he made it clear that he ignores whatever his rival does and is just focused on playing basketball. Now let's look at some of the other current NBA players who hate each other. Starting off, we have Seth Curry and Paul George at number 5. When the Mavs faced off against the Clippers in the 2020 playoffs, Seth Curry made it known that he hates PG-13. After scoring on George and drawing the foul, Curry pointed at Paul before letting some choice words fly, and we're definitely not repeating them. Some might find his outburst random, but it's because the two players have shared history with the same woman, Callie Rivers, Doc Rivers' daughter. George cheated on the woman when they were together, and Seth's been married to her since 2019, so he probably wanted to get some revenge on his wife's behalf. Next up, we have Markieff Morris and Nikola Jokic at number 4. Morris committed an unnecessary hard foul on the two-time MVP when Denver blew out Miami in November 2021. Naturally, Nikola wasn't too pumped about that, so he shoved Markieff like he wanted to genuinely hurt the man. Keith suffered whiplash from the shove, and his brother Marcus took to Twitter to express his frustration with Jokic's actions. Then the Jokic brothers clapped back at Marcus's tweet, reminding him that his brother made the dirty play first. When Markieff spoke about his status in January 2022, he called Jokic a sloppy fat boy, even though Nikola has apologized for his actions following the game. Now for number 3, we have Joel Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns. Embiid and Cat have gone back and forth on and off the court. Things got out of hand in 2019 when both men got into a scuffle during a regular season game, resulting in the refs ejecting the athletes. But the players didn't stop there, as they continued the beef on Instagram. Joel got things rolling by posting a picture, and in the caption, he said that lions raised him and a cat pulled up on him, equating Towns to nothing more than a cat. Cat responded to this with an Instagram post of his own, but Embiid posted yet another picture, this time with a caption mocking the Timberwolves. Towns commented that Joel's caption was as terrible as his picture quality, though Embiid clapped back by saying that it was still better than Karl's defense. Following that, we have TJ Warren and Jimmy Butler in at number 2. The TJ-Jimmy feud was just one of the hottest topics of the 2020 season, as these two went off on each other, and the fans loved every bit of it. It all started when Miami and Indiana faced off against each other on January 8, 2020. As Butler drove to the rim in the third, Warren aggressively grabbed Butler's arm, resulting in the two getting into a scuffle. The officials issued them with double techs, though things flared up the very next possession, as Butler deliberately fouled Warren on offense and walked back to the other end. Warren started taunting him in retaliation, but the refs weren't having any of it and handed him another tech, resulting in an ejection. Jimmy B loved the call though, and even kissed Warren goodbye. When the two met in the postseason the same year, fans were super pumped up and even set their Twitter profile pictures to photos of either man to indicate whose side they were on. Ultimately, Butler demolished Warren and the Pacers in the first round, putting an end to the beef. Jimmy's still the star of Miami, but TJ's just a bench player on the Nets, so Butler definitely got the last laugh. Finally, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo and James Harden at number 1. The feud started when the NBA named Giannis the 2019 MVP. Harden and the Rockets disagreed with the decision and said that the Greek Freak didn't deserve the award over James, who had an unbelievable campaign. Their beef only got worse once the 2020 season rolled around the corner, because when Giannis was selecting his teammates for the All-Star game, he chose Kemba Walker over Harden. And at this point, Kemba's contributions were nothing compared to what Harden was pulling off on a nightly basis. James was accused of being a ball hog, or someone who excessively holds on to the ball and does not pass it to their teammates. The teammate explained that they wanted someone who was more willing to pass the ball during games. This frustrated the one-time MVP, as he went on to trash Giannis in an interview a few months later after the Greek Freak's comments. Harden told Rachel Nichols that he wished he could just be tall like Giannis and run and dunk the ball because that requires no skill. While things haven't gotten out of hand recently, it's clear that Harden still doesn't like the Greek Freak because he's been seen getting frustrated by Giannis's insanely long free throw routine. That's a wrap for this video. Whose side are you on in the CP3 Beverley feud? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, remember to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.